that team is going downhill fast. Which team? The one that plays in the state of New York. Their primary color is blue. They're getting goaltending, but nearly nothing else. They have a long and complicated history with Chris Drury. Did you just say the team name? Let's go! Do you have a humiliation kit? This is all I ask you to do. I'm having a great finger flick. You're allowed to show up. This team is ruining my life. I'm taking crazy pills. With you, wherever you are, welcome to LFR. Victory Puppies Iggy Christmas is back on and is no longer canceled. That was a lot of drool, bro. I like it. You know how I often say, you should ask how? It's almost Christmas. Leafs win! 5-3 over the Buffalo Sabres, and just today, they don't ask how, they ask how many. Let's talk about it, dude. Okay, they played yesterday in not Toronto. Back-to-back with travel. Even though the travel wasn't that bad, it was travel. If you ever traveled, did you like it? No. Did you have to play a professional hockey game the next day? Probably not, unless there's a former NHL lurker in here or a current. It's possible. Who amongst you lurks among us? But it's even worse. It's on a Sunday. Friday, Saturday back-to-backs, not great. Saturday, Sunday back-to-backs, worse. And it was at 5 o'clock, which is not a matinee game. A matinee game is at a normal time for a matinee game. This was at 5. How many times in the last half decade have the Leafs played a game at 5 o'clock? I'd be shocked if the answer was more than 2, maybe even more than 1. Friday, Saturday, back-to-back. I don't know, there's something about Friday, Saturday that to me says let's go to work. There's something about Sunday that is not feral. No, feral would be you absolutely go out of your mind, right? The day of Sunday is like if it was 4:45 p.m. all day. In that, no one's gonna get any work done. What are you asking me to do? It's 4:45! I had to remind myself all day that there was a game today. And evidently, so did the Leafs. And I gotta tell you, it makes it even worse that it's against a bad team. And dude, I gotta tell you, Sabres are bad. That's what made it so concerning that less than 3 minutes into the game, it's 2-0 Sabres! 30 seconds in, Tanev takes a penalty. We don't like that. Jack Quinn, who has been lighting it up. Kidding, he only had 1 goal heading into this game. Sniped one on the power play, and I'm sure Hildeby will get the next one. Less than 3 minutes in, Alex Tuch does this thing. It's this trick that sometimes NHL players do. And he shot the puck! And again, it went in. Hildeby follows up, like, okay, here's his NHL career so far. Game number 1, great, and he won. Game number 2, terrible, and he just got blown up like Paul McCartney on stage. Live and let die. You know the meme. And when the Leafs were down 2-0 extremely early, I'm like, all right, I guess you blame this on Hildeby, but I didn't like that at all. One, because they need Hildeby right now. Anthony Stolarz was officially placed on IR, retroactive December 12th. But also because, what was I talking about at the end of last night? This is 7 average to bad games in a row, about to be 8. To blame this on Hildeby would be letting them off the hook. Luckily, the rest of this game was why the Buffalo Sabres suck manifest. Oh, hey! They're on the ropes! How about we simply stop? Except it didn't start like that right away, because at the end of the first period, the Leafs were actually getting outshot by the Sabres. 11-8. Reminder that this game is in Toronto, and the opponent was the Buffalo Sabres! To give you an idea of where the Buffalo Sabres are at this season, they were horrible, downright respectable, and right back to one of the worst teams in the league. They are at Leafs and waffles stage of bad. Do you remember when they were throwing waffles on? Yeah. These guys are bringing palm trees to games because of something goofy their GM said. They're talking about trading one of their young and established forwards even though they can't bloody score, and they're the Buffalo Sabres! You know, those who ignore history are doomed to repeat it. I've always felt like that's meant to apply to stuff that happened 10, 20, 30, 40 years ago, and not stuff that happened like 5 seconds ago. Jack Eichel, Sam Reinhart, Ryan O'Reilly, you can sort of fit into that conversation. Half the Panthers. Last year's Stanley Cup final was practically the former Sabres versus the former Leafs, and you're not going to believe me when I tell you the former Leafs lost, except for Carter Verhaeghe. Verhaeghe won. The Sabres are not just one of the worst teams in the league by the standings, they're one of the worst teams in the league by how they've been playing recently. They haven't won in 9 games, and you're about to prevent that from becoming 10. The Leafs' only saving grace of the first period was Maximum Domi! Finally! Show his face. Show his happy face. Look how happy he is to finally score a goal. And yes, the The Leafs head to intermission down 1, but they head to intermission with a smile on that toothless face. Dude, this goal is one of the saddest stat lines I've ever seen. Max Domi, first goal of the season. Robertson, first assist of the season. Bobby McMann, second assist of the season. There's 4 total points on this goal. But then the second period starts, and the shot situation doesn't really improve. The Sabres are still out shooting the Leafs. The Leafs, I don't know where to find this at. They have to lead the league in missed shots, right? Or highest percentage of shot attempts that end up as misses. Hit the net! We're all talking about how worried we were to have Dennis Hildeby in net for this one. Devin Levi, who I think is going to be a really good goalie in the future, ain't good yet. He's an 870 heading into this one with 2 wins. Do you understand Hildeby caught him in wins tonight? You're on home ice. You're playing a team that's not very good. Shoot the puck! But the only way you can shoot the puck is if you have the puck, and you don't have the puck because the Sabres have the puck and it's on Jack Quinn's stick, and he scored again! He scored 66% of his goals this season tonight! Or this evening? I hate 5 o'clock games, it's weird. And now we are halfway through the game. The Leafs are getting outshot on home ice, and they are down 3-1 to one of the most miserable sad sack pieces of crap franchises I've ever seen! That's harsh. That's harsh. This isn't, I mean, the Leafs have iced worse teams than this. The Sabres have iced worse teams than this. But then, your TSN turning point. I posted this. Just an uninspired, lazy, miserable viewing experience for 8 games now. And not to spoil anything for the rest of this game, but I got this message when I asked for questions and it made me laugh. Just have to ask, you still think it was an uninspiring game? Yes, when I posted this on the internet for everyone to ridicule me for, and I deserve it. I get it. I'm in on the joke, okay? Well, I like to think I am. When I posted this, all of that was true. The first half of the game was terrible. The 7 games leading up to it were terrible. And I just can't help but feel like it's not good to blame it on your rookie goalie when you are getting outplayed by a bottom 3 team in the league on home ice. I wasn't even mad at Hildeby. Like, he might be the 5th goalie for the Leafs. Do you understand? Yes, he was an AHL All-Star last year, but our relationship with AHL All-Stars in recent years is complicated. Dude, it's Stolarz, Woll, Murray would probably be in there, and he's had a good season in the AHL, but he's hurt. Archer Akhimov in 9 games has literally not lost in regulation since arriving in North America, and then it's Hildeby. So the 5th best goaltender in the Leafs organization right now isn't doing so great. Oh yeah! Yeah, I got a great idea. Outplay the Sabres! And it wasn't the Leafs big boys who got it done. It was the Leafs' 3rd line that I called out last game, getting it done. Now granted, this isn't the same 3rd line that they had last game. Different guys, different personnel. Domi at center, that's a big change. And Robertson on the right wing. Holmberg out. Minton out. Connor Timmins taking a seat for Philippe Myers in this one. They're trying stuff. Well, what happens? Max Domi enters the zone, helping to create offense like he does. I think he was trying to find Robertson. I'm not sure, but it ends up on Bobby McMahon's stick, and that was enough to screw up Devin Levi as he sets up Robbie, and he doesn't miss. Not from that spot. That's why you have Robertson on the right wing, and he brings the Leafs to within 1. And that was a hair over 2 minutes later. There's about half a game to go. Leafs are down 1 against a horrible team at home. They should win this game. I don't care if they're losing. Austin Matthews said, you're absolutely right. And he did a very Austin Matthews thing where he got an assist with a shot. Leafs have a power play. Matthews shoots it. It hits John Tavares in the leg. Who cares? Dumb luck and a lucky bounce going the Leafs' way. Sometimes that happens. It's hockey. That's a rubber puck. And it goes in. It's tied 3-3. Get the lead, though. And I just want to say, whoever replaced John Tavares' 2024 calendar with the 2018 one right at the beginning of November, I could kiss you on the mouth because he snipes another one for his 2nd of the game in the Leafs. Woo! Get their first lead of the game. That was the captain. Oh, former captain. Waking up his team. All right, guys, enough clowning around. I'm not even gonna laugh. I'm mean it. And they all said, oh my God, he didn't even chortle. Oh, it's serious when John doesn't chortle. The Leafs head into the 3rd period with a lead, and then from that moment on, even though Hildeby did make a couple saves, it was never close after that. Because the Sabres were still out shooting the Leafs when they went up 3-1. Then, second period, Leafs outshoot the Sabres 14-9. When the Leafs tie it, when the Leafs take the lead, oh, the body language on the Sabres, they just sag. And I like to think the Leafs picked up their socks and they started playing together. They started dominating. They took over the game of their own volition. But the Sabres were hopelessly outmatched. 19-7 were the shots in the third period. A third period, the Sabres were losing the entire time. It was not close. I tell you what was close. John Tavares forcing Bowen Byram into retirement by breaking both his ankles at the same time. Tavares ended this game with a hat trick. He ended up getting the empty net goal. It was the only goal of the third period. He could have had, how many? Let me ask the class. 6? You could have had 6? Dude, Dennis Hildeby went for a goal. And had the Sabres not stopped it in the neutral zone, I think it was going in. Dude, when was the last time you saw a Leafs goalie go for a goalie goal? For a goalie to even attempt a goalie goal, like, I know scoring it is so rare. Seeing a goalie even attempt it almost never happens. Like, Leafs attempts at scoring an empty net goal versus like lunar and solar eclipses in my life. It's gotta be eclipses by a mile, right? And if you're a goaltender, go for it, I always say. The Leafs were toying with the Buffalo Sabres at the end, and they pick up 2 points that always should have been theirs. Questions. Just say something nice about the Sabres. This is depressing. Well, Dylan Cousins got a misconduct when the game was definitely still within reach for the Sabres, which I don't think is going to go over well there, but I think it shows he cares. The fact he's in trade discussions or rumors or anything makes no sense to me. None. Like, okay, he had a down year after scoring so much that he got $7 million a year. Okay. He's 23. Learn something. Have the Sabres ever watched a Sabres game? You have cap space, surround the kid with talent, and watch him grow. When are the Sabres going to figure out that the common denominator is them? Like, when are they going to figure out, when are the people who run the Sabres going to figure it out? Because here's the nicest thing I could say about the Buffalo Sabres, and if you listen to the podcast, you know I've been consistent about this. Dating back to before this season began, to me, it doesn't make sense why this team sucks. It doesn't. They're building their team the way a lot of championship teams build their team. They have goaltending. UPL's pretty good. And they have their goalie of the future in Devin Levi, even though they are probably rushing him. I don't think he should be playing in the NHL right now. He's been unbelievable in the AHL. Leave him there. Let him marinate. Okay, so you got to get a veteran to insulate him. They got one. They went and got one with James Reimer, right? And he's won games for the Sabres this year. And played for the Ducks. He's been all over the place. He's been a suitcase. Who's on your back end? Goodness gracious. Rasmus Dahlin, Owen Power, Bowen Byram. That is a ridiculous bing bang boom on the left side, and I know they can play on the right side too. Who should we get to fill out? I don't know, man. Cap space. Up front? Yeah, okay. Up front, they could be better. They could be better. But, like, who do they got? Tage Thompson. That's a good piece. It's a really good piece. JJ Peterka. That's a great piece. Dylan Cousins. Yeah, underperforming piece, but young. Okay? Young. If someone's going to be underperforming, they might as well be young on your roster, right? Alex Tuck. That's a good player. Jack Quinn. That's a young player. There are things to like. Lots of things to like. I think about the Buffalo Sabres. I really do. Why aren't they spending to the cap? Why did they buy a player out so that they could not spend to the cap? Why would they even humor the idea of trading yet another young forward before they turn 25? Or even worse, just as they're getting good. The Sabres are the hockey manifestation of picking a scab too often so that it never heals. You don't need to tear it down and rebuild. You're not this team coming to grips with the fact that they suck and you have to bottom out and build your way back up. You've already done that. A lot of teams have done that. You are on the build part of rebuild. You have core pieces that a lot of teams would die for. Surround the kids with talent. Surround the kids with experience and watch them flourish. Or just continue to contribute to a miserable, anxiety-inducing environment. It's just miserable. So, I know you said say good things about the Sabres. The good news is I don't think this hockey team should be anywhere close to as bad as they are. I'd love to tell you that firing Kevin Adams and getting a new guy in there would do something. When they're not spending to the cap, I just don't believe Kevin Adams that he's like, yeah, this is totally the right idea. I should be doing this. I think it's higher than him, and that's a problem. Why is Tavares shining without the C on his chest? Is there just that much more pressure to do well? So here, this is interesting, because I was about to do this big thing about shooting percentage. Because last year, John Tavares' shooting percentage was not very good. It was 10.4%, so he scored on 10.4% of the shots on goal that he took. That is his worst shooting percentage as a Leaf. In 18-19, when he scored 47 goals, he had a shooting percentage of 16.4, which is insane. So remember, last year didn't even score 30 goals, John Tavares. Oh no, at 10.4% shooting, didn't even score 30 goals. 2 years ago, scored 36 goals, shot exactly 13%. This year, 12.9%, so basically 13%. Exactly where he was 2 years ago when he flirted with 40 goals. To me, last year was the outlier. Last year, he had 279 shots. If he scored on 12.9% of those shots, he would have 36 goals. Last year, Tavares had 279 shots. The year before, he had 277. Like, almost identical. Yet the difference was 7 goals. So I don't know, like, maybe gripping the stick is part of it. Maybe it's just dumb luck. For me, like, it's I don't want to just sit here and be like, it's the numbers. Like, he's getting open more often. I think the danger that Pacioretty brings, and Nylander, and at times Marner, Tavares is better at finding open space and helping his teammates, or using his teammates to find that open space. Like when it was Tavares, Marner, and I think Holmberg did a good job helping to crowd the crease and everything, and that's where Tavares' bread and butter is. Now Max Pacioretty's back, and it's Max Pacioretty in that big body, and you saw yesterday it wasn't a goal but an assist. John Tavares understands the art of go to the net! I can see him and Craig Berube, hopefully, when the playoffs arrive, hopefully, being a match made in heaven. I think they think the same thing about offense. Like when the Blues made the Stanley Cup final and won the thing in 2019, the number one criticism about them is they were slow. Brother, do I have a player for you. Compared to last season, Tavares is actually shooting less per game. Some of it might be some puck luck. I mean, he had a goal go in off his leg today. Then he also scored an empty netter. He had 3 goals today, and one of them was a shot that he took. But I don't think it has anything to do with his captaincy, because he was very, very good and very, very useful leading up to last season. Last season, look at his Leafs career. Total outlier. This is him getting back in business. How much extra time did Robertson buy himself tonight? That's a great question. Can we follow it up? Third line was buzzing all night, it seemed. Did they earn another opportunity to grow chemistry? Okay, so backing it up, this is Nick Robertson, and what he does. What he does so often is he reminds you why you need him. Oh, man. When he's out of the lineup, you're like, they don't need him. He's played his last game as a Leaf. He's played his last game as a Leaf like 3 or 4 times. Then he gets back in the lineup. He did this last year too, and he scores. But the chemistry, I think, is important. This line is Domi, who's pretty much fresh back from injury, Bobby McMann, who is pretty much fresh back from injury, and Nick Robertson, who's fresh back from healthy scratch. It's the regular season, the games don't stop, and the Leafs have lots of NHL-ready players, but chemistry does matter. I think like a player with Max Domi, it matters a lot. But that is the most offensively gifted version of the Leafs third line we've seen, I think. Like, if you're going to keep the top 6 the way it is, even if you rearrange some of the guys and where they play, McMann can score. Robertson can score. Hasn't really this year, but he can. And Domi didn't have any goals heading into this game, but even though he was on a redonkulous dating back to October point slump, we know he's a playmaker and we know he can make plays, and he did in this one. To me, for that line at very least, you don't change a thing for next game. Those 3 stay together. If you want to swap Holmberg for Reeves or something, you do that, but you keep that line together. They have some defensive red flags, and if they come out in a bad way, they're gone. But if they keep scoring, dude, if you have to worry about that line, how are you supposed to cover the first 2? This is why the third line center is the point of emphasis heading into the trade deadline in several months. If the Leafs get a third line that can score, what are you supposed to do? You ever notice when the Leafs beat Tampa, they had a crazy third line? And it was O'Reilly with a baby Matthew Nyes and Noel Acciari. Now, finding someone as good as Ryan O'Reilly, well, I was going to say it might be hard, but you might literally get Ryan O'Reilly this year. Anyway, point being, if they can score, if if this line can score, oh yeah, you move heaven and earth to keep them together. Lastly, pleasure seeing you today at your book signing. Second, what are you going to do now with your extra time? Yes, I went to a book signing today in Burlington, and that is the last one. Last one. Who knows? Maybe we'll do more down the line. I know we have some live shows that we're planning, but I did a ton of dates this fall and almost winter, and I got to, like, what a privilege to meet the hundreds and hundreds of people that I met along this journey. Like, people kept saying thanks for doing this. Thank you? Like, what do you mean? What do you mean? Thanks for doing this. Like, you don't understand, and it's impossible to describe what a privilege it is to have that many people come out and support you in what you're doing and your dream, and you shake their hand and you see their face and you share a smile, and you just get to talk about hockey and life and whatever you want. One of the things I've appreciated so much about this tour is I get to talk to people about the people who mean the most to them. Because, this book was a fall release, so a lot of people were getting it as a Christmas gift. And they told me so much about their friends and about their family. It's beautiful. Dude, I keep getting these friendship bracelets. I got this one today. I don't know if you can see it on the camera. Oh, there you go. It says "Go to the Net," which is sick. And then there's this one that I don't think I'm just ever taking off. And it says Isla, like my daughter, Leo, like my son, and Iggy, like my first son. People are beautiful, man. People are beautiful. I'm a really lucky guy. So if I got to see you, thank you. If I didn't get to see you, I hope I get to see you. I hope I get to meet as many of the people watching this as I can. Because really, what a treat. What a privilege. What a life. Thank you for giving me everything that I have. And in terms of what I get to do with my extra time, still got to work, right? Still got to do Podcast Network, and I got to do this channel and all that. But this is the stupidest, cheesiest, most boringest answer. I'm going to spend more time with my kids. Isla's about to have her first Christmas, and I'm so excited for that. And watching Leo grow has been one of the greatest joys of my entire life. And I can't wait to get back on the ice with him so that he can do the things I was never able to do. And I still am not able to do. So, on that note, that is it for this one. Thank you very much for watching. Click like if you like this video. Click subscribe if you really liked it. Tell your friends. It doesn't stop. Tomorrow, brand new Steve Dangle podcast.